video is going to be the most important video for those of you who are dealing with scarring alopecia. Now, scarring alopecia can be a very scary situation, and I'm going to be explaining to you first why it happens, and second, how you can deal with it. But first of all, when I'm telling you why it happens, this will give you a deeper understanding of exactly what's going on. And second, how to deal with it. It is going to be a very long protocol. It is going to be a very long journey. So I'm going to be telling you this up front right now. But just know that time always passes. Even if it takes you 5 years on this journey to treat scarring alopecia, you would be better off treating the scarring alopecia while the 5 years go by, instead of just waiting those 5 years and expecting a miracle to happen along the way without any treatment or any action on your side. I have been getting these wonderful messages. I will read some of her comments here. Thank you so much for your videos. Your advice about drinking apple cider vinegar has been incredibly helpful for me. To be honest, I drink it in small sips right during my meals. I can't drink it beforehand because it upsets my stomach. I take 1 teaspoon, dilute it in a half glass of water, drink it through a straw, and do this during my 2 main meals. I also bought kitchen scales to track whether I'm hitting my daily protein intake. And then she says, I suffer from hypothyroidism. I have an autoimmune disease that has caused patchy hair loss on my head. And unfortunately, the skin in those areas look shiny. I am terrified that my hair will never grow back. My trichologist diagnosed me with scarring alopecia. According to my lab results, I have insulin resistance, low vitamin D, and slight B9 deficiency. My iron level is 71, and my doctor says the other markers are within the normal range. However, I plan to take iron supplements to bump my ferritin up even higher. Once again, please share your story on how you dealt with hypothyroidism. On my hypothyroidism protocol video was, wow, I am impressed with the protocol. Thank you for sharing this information. I live in a different country, so I'll check which of these homeopathic remedies I can get a hold of here. Thank you for everything you share on your channel. Your experience is incredibly valuable to me, so please keep going. I've spent a long time going to different doctors, and not a single one could tell me the root cause of my scarring alopecia. I did a ton of tests, took 3 different antibiotics for over 1.5 months, and took a broad spectrum antifungals for more than a month. None of it helped. My scalp kept itching and hurting, and my hair kept falling out in clumps. Nothing worked, not even topical corticosteroids I was prescribed, like Belosalic and others. Eventually, I just stopped going to doctors. I decided on my own to take antiparasitic medications, Vormal, aspen bark, wormwood, cloves, and tansy. No doctor ever suggested this to me, though I suspect the ultrasound technician actually saw tapeworms, but chose to stay silent, claiming it was just gas and telling me to book an appointment with a gastroenterologist. By that point, I had already spent so much money without getting any relief for my scalp. I started taking herbs and eating 1 to 2 teaspoons of black seed daily, and I did feel better. However, the pain hasn't completely gone away, and the inflammation is still ongoing. I've been fighting this inflammation for over 3 years now, and I hope one day it will finally end. I also want to mention that I got a much better understanding of my health once I started analyzing my lab results with the help of Gemini. I found out something none of my doctors who read my tests ever told me, that at 32 I already have insulin resistance, thyroid and liver issues, and vitamin B9 deficiency. Only one doctor pointed out a massive vitamin D deficiency and prescribed 5,000 units a day, and they completely omitted the fact that it needs to be taken with vitamin K2. That's what I keep telling you guys. Doctors will not give you all of the information, and this is where the problem is. This problem is worldwide, okay? I live in Canada and this problem is here. I've had so many arguments with doctors before, you will not believe it. I might also have a ferritin deficiency. Thank you once again for your videos. It's clear that in my case, just like yours, going to doctors won't lead to anything but a waste of time and money. Yes. Scarring alopecia happens for several reasons. So first and foremost is an autoimmune problem. If you have a weak autoimmune system, the body stays in constant inflammation and it starts to attack some part of your body, and for you that is your scalp. Now in your case, when your body is attacking itself and attacking the scalp, now I don't have all the information of what kind of scarring alopecia you have, because there is lichen planus, there is frontal fibrosing alopecia, there is CCCA, there's folliculitis. So basically it happens, scarring happens when you burn or when you destroy a specific area. Like just like, for example, I burn myself from fire, I get a scab, it starts to scar, right? That is what is happening on your scalp. Now you've mentioned that it hurts, it itches, and it burns. So when scarring alopecia happens, it is due to your lymphocytes and your neutrophils not functioning properly. Basically, that's what it comes down to. When these two specific cells in the body do not function properly, this is when the scalp starts to attack itself, the follicles attack itself, it becomes itchy, it starts to burn, and it starts to hurt. So we are going to tackle this a very different way. First things is, you're not going to let your scalp scar. And by that, I mean you have to keep your scalp moisturized. So how are you going to keep your scalp moisturized? Well, you've mentioned that you've used a lot of corticosteroids and you've used medication, antifungal medications. Your best bet right now is to get ketoconazole cream. Apply it to your scalp every single day. This is not only going to decrease the inflammation on your scalp, it's also going to fight the fungal infection, and it's also going to keep your scalp moisturized. The reason for this is because I'm going to give you a very basic example. Let's say, for example, I burn my hand and the burn is very deep. It forms a scar, right? It forms a scab. Now, when it forms a scab, you're going to feel like that scab is getting tighter. It feels very tight. Like when you move your hand, it feels tight, the scab. So what we usually do is you would take polysporin, which is a antibacterial cream, and you apply it on top of the scab. And you would do this several times a day to keep the scab moisturized. And when you do that, the scab eventually falls off on its own and it forms another skin layer underneath and it stops being very itchy. Sometimes you've noticed that when you get a very bad burn, it starts to itch around that area, right, where you got your burn. The same thing is happening to your scalp. Your scalp is feeling itchy and it feels like a burning sensation because there is a scar there. There's a scab there. So ketoconazole cream is going to help keep that area moisturized. You want to make sure that when you are going outside or going anywhere where there's a lot of dust, you can attract a lot of dust, you cover your head either through maybe a scarf or maybe a hat. This is not going to only keep your scalp moisturized, it's also going to prevent it from attracting a lot of dust and dirt to your scalp. Because if your scalp is moisturized, has ketoconazole cream, it's emollient. So it's going to start to attract a lot of dust and dirt. That's the first thing you're going to avoid, is dry scalp. Second thing you're going to do is, you've already tried medication, right? And you've already tried topical treatments. So the next step is to treat your autoimmune disease. Now, you've mentioned that you take 2 teaspoonfuls of flaxseed every single day. That is not going to work as it's supposed to, because you're not supposed to take black seeds on its own. You're supposed to take black seeds, you're supposed to grind them into a powder, and then you're supposed to take raw honey, put that powder in raw honey and make it into a paste. Once you make it into a paste, you let it sit out. Right now, it's hot outside, so there's a lot of sun. You're going to let it sit in the sun for 40 days. The black seed has its own oil. So that oil is going to get secreted into the honey, and over 40 days, it's going to marinate together. So all the properties of the black seed oil and of the honey, which is a conditioning, antibacterial, antifungal agent, is going to mix together. Then you're going to take one small spoon, very small, it's like even smaller than a teaspoon, one small spoon full of this mixture, and you're going to drink lukewarm water on top in the morning, empty stomach. This is not only going to increase the power of its potency in the body, it's going to fight all inflammation in the body. Now, obviously, you have to be mindful that these are natural treatments. They're going to take a very long time, but these treatments work. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to start using topical treatments once a week to help that scab and that itchiness to calm down. The less itchy and the less burning sensation you have in that area, the less flakiness and the less dry areas you have, it is going to be better for your healing situation. So what you're going to do is you're going to take MCT oil, right? You're going to take enough for your scalp, and you're going to put 3 drops, not 4, not 5, 3 drops of tea tree oil in that specific mixture are going to apply to your scalp, right? Once you apply to your scalp, it's going to have this moisturizing effect, and it's going to stop. It's not going to stop the itching, but it's going to decrease the itchy sensation. You're going to leave it on for about 2 hours minimum, and then you're going to wash it off with a shampoo. And right after you wash it off with the shampoo, for example, you're going to use Nizoral or Keto Nizoral shampoo. Right after, you're going to use a toner, and I'm going to show you here on the screen. You're going to use a toner. The toner that we use on our face, it's Centella toner. And the reason for that is because once you wash your hair, it's going to feel stripped out of oils, very, very dry, right? When you go like this, move your head, sometimes it feels really dry. So what is Centella going to do? This toner is going to keep the area moisturized. Now, when you're going into this therapy, always keep in mind, I need to keep my scalp moisturized. Now, in terms of the tapeworm, if you suspect there are tapeworms, I would suggest you not to go through a natural root situation, because tapeworms can be very dangerous if they are untreated. If your doctor is not taking it seriously, go to a hospital and in the emergency and tell them that you have tapeworms and it's causing you problems. So that way they can check right away and treat it, because for tapeworms, you need antibiotics, you need treatment for that. So don't ignore that situation. Make sure you take that situation very seriously. And you're going to do things one by one. You cannot target everything at one time. So just know that this treatment is going to take some time. And I understand that you have been going through this for a very long time. And it's very frustrating when you go to doctors and they don't really give a shit about your health, because they only care about their money and how much money they make. This is just the reality. It's like that everywhere. It's like that in Canada. It's like that in US. You just can't do anything about it. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to use raw honey. You're going to take raw honey and you're going to mix in MCT oil, a few drops with honey. And you're going to use enough to cover just the bald areas on your scalp. You don't need to put it in the entire head, just on the bald areas or the areas where there's itchy and burning sensation. So this will help calm that situation down. In this situation, you need to think about decrease inflammation, decrease itching, moisture. These are the only things you need to buy. These are some of the oral treatments that you can use, and you're going to have to make on your own, because I would not recommend going to any store to buy this. This will help normalize the function of lymphocytes and neutrophils. As I've mentioned in the beginning of this video, lymphocytes and neutrophils not functioning properly is what is causing the scarring alopecia. And once you have treated this itchy situation, your inflammation, then we can go ahead and talk about hair regrowth in those shiny areas of the scalp which you are afraid you won't grow hair back. So what you're going to do now, these are some oral treatments. And I was surprised when I used this. I actually made this concoction myself from all of the knowledge that I have. And I've seen it work firsthand. And the reason And the reason I know this is because I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory. My dad has always had diabetic wounds on his legs, and his diabetic wounds were so sore and they were so exposed that his legs were always bleeding. They were always pussing out green fluid. So anytime he would walk anywhere around the house, there would be green fluid everywhere. So every other day we would have a nurse come and they would do his bandage. Then I started to give him this one concoction that I'm going to tell you about. And this one concoction not only helped with his diabetic wound, it completely replaced the skin on his legs. And it gave him completely new skin. It closed up all the wounds on his legs, and his legs stopped pussing out and his legs stopped bleeding. And if I have a picture of his legs after the treatment, I will go in here and put it, but I don't think I have any pictures, but I will see. He passed away last year. He's no longer here with us, but when I treated him like this, even the nurses were surprised on what did I do to help get new skin on diabetic wound legs, because usually people have to go for amputation if it gets that worse, like my father's leg were. And the treatment is, you're going to take one big giant aloe vera, find it at any store. You're going to cut it and take out the gel, and then you're going to put it in the grinder machine, and you're going to make it into a liquid paste-like thing. You're not going to add any water to it. You're not going to add anything to it. You're going to leave it pure as is. Take it out in a glass bottle, not plastic. Be mindful of that. Take it out in a glass bottle, and every single day, morning and evening, and you don't have to do it on empty stomach early morning. You can just do it like during lunchtime or something. You're going to take a small glass about this size. You're going to put water, half cup water, 2 tablespoons of this aloe vera gel that you just made, 1 scoop of marine collagen peptides, and a big pinch of turmeric powder. I'm telling you, this works like magic. This is like the strongest and best treatment you will ever have in your life for collagen production, for inflammation, for scarring, for everything. It solves all skin issues. And then you're going to buy capsules, empty capsule packets. You're going to make your own capsules. Now, making your own capsules, it is not hard. You don't need a capsule making machine for that. You can just fill them by hand. It takes time, but you're doing it for your own healing, so why not? And this, make sure you're going to put a 1-to-1 ratio of everything. So you're going to put echinacea powder. You're going to take astragalus root powder. You're going to take ashwagandha powder. You're going to take ginseng powder. You're going to take thyme powder. You're going to take ginger powder. You're going to take shatavari and make it into a powder, because I've never seen shatavari come as a powder form. I usually see like in the solid flour-like shape form. Make all of these into a powder. Let's say 10 grams each, 5 grams each, whatever you want to do. Once you make it into a powder, mix everything up and then start filling your capsules. When you start filling your capsules, I would say make 2 batches of 100. So 200 capsules. You're going to take 1 capsule in the morning, 1 capsule in the evening before going to sleep. Now, this is going to fix the function of lymphocytes and neutrophils in the body. How are you going to know it's working? Well, it's going to start working in the 6th month period. Don't take it only for 1 month and expect it to make miracles for you, because natural treatments take a very long time. In the 6th month mark, you are going to start experiencing less inflammation in your body, less inflammation on your scalp, no itching, no burning sensation. This is going to be really helpful for scarring alopecia, for decreasing inflammation, for fighting any type of cells that are not functioning properly in your body. This is specifically targeted for lymphocytes and neutrophils. Next, you're going to start taking L-lysine These are 1000 milligram tablet. You're going to take 2 tablets with your iron. Now, you mentioned that your iron is ferritin is 71, but you did not tell me your other markers. You need to ask your doctor what the other markers are. You cannot rely on the doctor saying your other markers are fine. And the reason I'm telling you this is because when my iron level, my ferritin was 7, my doctor would say, oh, your ferritin is fine. Your hemoglobin, my hemoglobin was below, like way below what it should be. And they were like, oh, your hemoglobin is fine. And I kept going unconscious. I would be sitting there studying and then I would go unconscious. And doctor's like, oh, your hemoglobin is fine. So don't trust what the doctor says. Get your own report. Now, just because your ferritin is 71, that does not mean that your iron saturation is above 20%. Your transferrin iron saturation should be above 20% in order for you to feel any better, especially in your legs and on your scalp. Because your legs feel it the most when they start to hurt and they start to pull, especially when you sleep at night and you feel like your legs are very sore, even though you haven't done that much for it to be that sore. And the other thing is your scalp is going to suffer because your blood circulation is not going towards your scalp in order for it to heal. Because scarring happens when there is no blood circulation in that specific area. So we want to target blood circulation to the maximum so that the scarring decreases and the hair starts coming back. Now, you're upset about the shiny part and being able to grow out hair. Let me just tell you something, that even if your part is shiny, yes, your hair can grow back again, but it will take time because now that shiny area is like closed off skin, right? So if I try to grow follicles on this closed off skin, that's going to take a very long time. And the reason you will know that it's working is because when the shiny part starts to go away, let's say you start applying the Miracle-Lox peptide essence in that specific area, over time, over a 6 to 8 month period, you're going to start to feel the shiny part is fading and is turning into matte skin. When it starts turning into matte skin, then you can hope in the next 2 years, your new follicles will form in that area. And then in the year 3 period, you're going to see new hair growth. Now, unfortunately, I am not somebody who is going to give you promises that in 1 year, your hair is going to go from like scalp shiny to a full head of hair in just like one year. I am not that person. I talk about realistic situations, realistic hair cycles, and realistic goals. So in this situation, your hair is going to take at least 5 years to grow back. This is just standard. Anybody who is promising you 1 year, 2 year, 30 days, those are completely false marketing, false information. They're just trying to get quick business from you. It doesn't work like that. If you have a shiny part on your scalp, that means the hair follicle has closed off. There is no more hair follicle in that area. Now, deep within the scalp, the hair follicle is still there. See, that's what people don't understand on the microscopic level. They just see the top level and they're like, okay, I'm done. That's not how it works. Deep down in your scalp, the follicle is still there, it's dormant, and it's sleeping. So when you start using the Miracle-Lox peptide hair essence, it has 11 targeted peptides in one bottle that you will not find anywhere on the market. There is not a single product on the market that contains 11 targeted peptides in one bottle. The maximum is 3, the minimum is 1. And then over time, your scalp will stop becoming shiny. And then after it stops becoming shiny, your follicle will start to come back. And then when your follicle starts to come back, it's going to be like ingrown hair situation where you're going to have to scrub at it. Like, for example, on your arms when you have like chicken skin. So when you have closed follicles, so that's what you're going to see, closed follicles. So you're going to have to then scrub at it and then open those follicles up, and then you will see new hair growth. But yes, treatment is possible. It's very possible to get your hair back. Scarring alopecia is reversible. Just the doctors won't tell you that because they, first of all, either don't care And the second thing is they don't have this type of information. They don't learn anything in school. If you go to medical school, like I studied pharmacy, they fast track everything. They just want to cram into 4 months. Make sure you memorize everything. Make sure you know everything. Just cram it in and write your exam and then go, right? You don't have the chance to learn as you do when you are working, when you are on the job, when you are experiencing different things. And the other thing with doctors is I've had this discussion with a GI doctor from my mother, and I told this doctor, like, doctors should have the mental capacity to not only follow protocols, but actually to challenge protocols and to work outside of protocols, rules, and regulations. And when I told the doctor this, he obviously didn't like it because doctors think like in a box. If one person said scarring alopecia has no cure, everybody's going to say scarring alopecia has no cure. They're not going to challenge that information and work towards following and work towards solving that issue. For example, a lot of doctors say there is no cure to hypothyroidism, and I have shown and proved to many doctors how did I cure my hypothyroidism. You have an answer? Because I don't take any Western medication. I did it all through natural. And sometimes the doctors don't like that when you see that. One doctor told me not to speak about it because this is a very big mafia. And I have left the industry because I did not agree with the protocols, the rules and regulations. But yeah, scarring alopecia, there is a solution. I will list all of these things in the description box below in case you missed something. Make sure you do these treatments as I am explaining it to you in the same order and in the same dosages that I'm explaining to you, and you will see a difference in your situation. You just need to be mindful of the foods that you are eating, because there are a lot of foods that cause inflammation in the body. For example, a lot of white sugar, soda, pastries, cookies, candy, things like pizza, deep fried foods. These cause inflammation in the body. So I would recommend you to stay away from these things. And lastly, there is one drink that I consistently drink to decrease inflammation, and I will mention that drink also in the description box below. What you're going to do is you're going to take each of these ingredients, you're going to put them in water, in a big glass of water. You can even drink this much if you want. And you're going to soak them overnight. The next day, you're going to drink it right before bed. That also helps to decrease inflammation. So we are basically attacking all sides in our body to decrease inflammation. So when you're using so many different things to attack the inflammation, the body has no other option but to decrease inflammation, because it cannot fight back in the same force that you are treating it. If you do have any questions or clarifications, make sure you put them in the comments down below so that I could clarify whatever you need to in order for me to help you recover and help you in your journey. Because even if I could help you 5% in order for you to heal from this situation, then that would be a very good step forward in the right direction. So I hope to see you soon. I hope to read from you soon. And for others who are watching, make sure you do leave a comment down below and let me know how your journey is going and what your struggles are. Because if you don't communicate with me through the comment section, I'm not a psychic. I cannot read your mind. So then I won't be able to help you. But at least let me know what your struggles are, because that is the only way I could actually help you.